Hi, welcome back, and today's video is all about life after passing the engineering board exam. Yes, finally, I feel you, a sigh of relief. So finally your ultimate goal with your academia is now accomplished, and now the next stage of your life has to start. So today's video is all about tips and helpful stuff that might help you in the transition from being an unemployed licensed engineer into an employed working professional with a plethora of options of engineering industries and jobs here in the Philippines. So without further ado, let's go. There you are. You worked hard for 5 to 6 months just to pass a licensure examination for engineers here in the Philippines, whether you're civil, electrical, mechanical, electronics, chemical, one of the tougher examinations out there. And after that, you get rewarded by the grace of God that you have passed the examinations, and now you're a registered professional engineer in the Philippines. Finally, the goal since we started studying is now accomplished. The goal has always been study hard or study hard enough to pass engineering school, big check. And now you are legally allowed to practice as a registered engineer in the Professional Regulations Commission of the Philippines. Big check. Congratulations, by the way. And now what's next? You wonder. Of course, next is employment, right? So after that, a lot of engineers actually go to job search immediately, while some try to be laid back and enjoy the break. But enjoying the break is always important. After all the years you expended in engineering school, studying and reviewing is going to take a toll on your mental, physical, whatever state it is. So it's okay to have a rest. It's nice. The amount of rest you need is basically subjective. Depends upon you. Next, we're gonna talk about career goal. Yeah, we're gonna start with your career. But what is your goal? What industry do you want to be part of? As an engineer, what specific industry of your engineering practice do you want to be involved in? That's one of the questions that every graduate engineer should ponder themselves, because building a career, it is advisable that you build all of your experiences as relative as possible toward that industry. So let's take, for example, myself. I really wanted to be involved in the power generation industry as a mechanical engineer. It's just simulating to me. Have all the working theories during our engineering years. Thermodynamics, power plant engineering is just there. So that is where I'm working right now. So it depends upon you. If you're a civil engineer, do you want to go into construction? Most probably. Quality control. If you're a geodetic engineer, do you want to work in the government? Who knows? Whatever your goal is. But to most engineers, this is not actually clear yet. Almost every engineering practice is very wide. Like, there's a lot of employment opportunities out there. So it's also okay to explore into what particular industry you want to be involved in. But sometimes circumstances like opportunity, timing just plays a part into what industry you're going to build your career on. So it's much better if you have an outlook on what the long-term goal you have is to target that experience that you're going to get. So what helped me choose this particular industry is that I really like the program that my school had. Shout out to all of my fellow PUP graduates in Manila, in Cavite, Taguig, and Visayas. So I'm from PUP, and we have 3 internships during which I got involved in the manufacturing industry and the construction industry, especially the HVAC. And my second internship and my longest internship was in a design company in Cavite. So I was given a glimpse of these 3 engineering industries in my practice. So and then I had an opinion for myself, which industry do I want to be part of in a longer part of my career. We're gonna talk about is resource allocation. What do I mean by resource allocation? So when you're looking for employment opportunities, you need to allocate resources into this endeavor. You need to allocate your energy, your time, of course money, because you're gonna be traveling places, giving your resumes, your credentials, printing stuff, spending load so that you can send your emails, applications and stuff, and most importantly time and effort. Okay, next point is we're going to talk about creating a solid resume or CV. So when it comes to this, there's a lot of articles online that's going to help you, because if we're going to discuss it here, it's going to take a lot of time. So just click the links I added below. It will help you a lot, as it did help me back then. So having a tailored resume or CV is important, as to this will give you a chance to actually be in the next selection for the role. It might potentially give you an interview. So that's actually the purpose of the resume. It must be precise, concise, and also it has all the relevant information in there. So when you're a fresh graduate, make sure to highlight any experience at all, academic during your internship, is gonna be relevant to the job, as it will help employers gauge your skill and ability towards the particular position. So next thing you're gonna do is be a scout. You're gonna have to scout potential employers in your area. So what kind of companies or employers are available in your area? So for a civil engineer, it can be the city engineer's office. If you're in a provincial place, maybe a subcontractor, an engineering firm out there. For a chemical engineer, maybe there's a manufacturing plant, industrial plant out there. It's gonna use your skill. For mechanical engineers, there might be construction firms as well, especially into the electromechanical MEP practice. So there's a lot of options out there, and you need to cite that, because they're gonna be the places in which you're gonna send your applications to. Make sure that these companies give you a good chance, at least give you a good chance to either learn and of course be in line with your career goal. Now that we have lined up all the potential employers in your area, next is you also need to grow your professional network. What I mean by that is that, of course, companies do prefer it when you are referred by a current employee of theirs. So it's time to grow the professional network of yours, maybe by exploring fellow alumni working in the company, or maybe people you know from technical institutions, like maybe the society of what engineering practice you belong in. So that is also another part of importance of having technical institutions and organizations that you're involved, because you're gonna know people from different industries. The engineering world is a small world, especially in the Philippines. So one day or another, you're just gonna meet them in an encounter, professional encounter. So it helps that you already have connections and bridges that's gonna help you in your career endeavors as well. So the next point is, after you've done all those stuff, next is we're gonna have to be active with our applications. So some applications are walk-in, some are via online, but due to the pandemic nowadays, I think most of the applications has to be online as well as the interviews. So you're gonna have to be active. So once the pandemic is over, you're gonna have to build up your guts to do walk-in applications and also be active on online job platforms. The common apps and websites like JobStreet, Indeed, MyDemo, what else are there? Caliber, Monster. Those are the few. You're called up for an interview, so now you're in the next stage of your recruitment. So what you're gonna do is you have to ace the interview. But how are you gonna ace the interview? But it's always gonna come down to one thing. Just be confident. Yeah, but what if my English isn't that good? I mean, you're gonna be lucky if the interviewing manager is not an expat. Let's say he's just a Filipino. You can request it. Especially if you're having a hard time, just answer in dialect or in Filipino. Most of the recruiting managers are not that strict when it comes to language anyways. Unless you're dealing with expats. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Americans, and stuff. They're not that particular, but at least you have to improve your communication skills and just be confident. And next tip, when it comes to interview, you have to research the company and the role as well. So let's say you're applying for Nestle and as a production engineer. So what does a production engineer do in Nestle? You don't know. You have to research on that. What is Nestle's product? Let's say, yeah, Nestle is a lot of product, but at that particular plant, what is the product that they're making? It's just like an assignment. So I'm gonna share an experience of mine. I got called up for an interview for my first job. This was on a construction firm for a mall in Negros, and the recruiting manager, which was the mechanical superintendent of the construction firm, asked me like, do you have enough experience on plumbing and mechanical installations? In mechanical installations, I was lucky because I was exposed for 6 weeks during my internship into HVAC installation for a project in Iloilo. So I was lucky that I know some stuff, like especially the ductings, what is SAD, what is EAD. For those of you who don't know, supply air duct, exhaust air duct, it's the HVAC system. And he asked me what is an AHU, and I was like, it's an air handling unit, I know that. And I was like, okay, that's enough. About the plumbing side, I was just gonna be honest because I don't know much about plumbing. I don't have experience, and basically it can be learned, but at that moment I don't know. So I was like, for now sir, I don't know, but I do believe it's can be learned with the right guidance, and I'll put my effort into it if ever given the role. Okay, now that we have conducted a couple of interviews after your months long of application saga, the HR of the company finally gives you a JO or a KO, a knockout. But unfortunately, most, if not most, of the HR just don't give feedback anymore. That's what's sad about it. But when you get the result of your interview, instead of a JO or a job or offer, you got a KO. It's okay. It's fine. Don't take it personally. I mean, let's say you think you were the best for the position and you weren't accepted, or you weren't enough for the recruiting manager. That's fine. Don't take it personally. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of opportunities, and mind you, there's a lot of engineers vying for that position as well, not just the fresh graduates. How about the people who are in one industry but wanted to transfer in another industry? They are your competition as well. So let's say there's 3,000 to 5,000 new engineers that year, and then add maybe 1,000 engineers who are from another year trying to get employed in the same positions. You'll never know that. So that's why, just take your shot, and it's okay to be rejected. It's fine to be rejected, but never quit. Your time's gonna come, your opportunity's gonna come. So when it does, if you follow these tips and other tips from professionals as well that you know. Okay, so after all the struggle, you finally have a JO in your hands, a job offer. So you're an engineer, right? You must be paid good. How much do entry-level engineers make? Make the question rather simple. It depends on mostly two factors: the company you're in and the place you're in. Because mostly companies who are in provincial areas give provincial rates as well. The companies in the urban areas have to give the rate depending on the cost of living. And also the big factor is the company you're employed in. So usually when you're an entry-level engineer, at first you're gonna expect a lot of money. Like, you're an engineer, you must make a lot. You've thought wrong. It's not true. In fact, most entry-level engineering jobs do not make that much, and even not that entry-level jobs. It's just that there's an abundant supply of engineers in the country, and there's not much opportunities here that's gonna give much returns. That's why most of our engineers would rather work abroad. Yeah, especially if you're in the government sector, you're gonna earn a lot. And also the bigger companies in the zone. But that's just that demographic I know is just for traditional engineering practices. Because the new engineering trend nowadays is more on software, data analytics, stuff like that. If you're gonna be a software engineer, probably you're gonna earn much more because this is the new technology and trend now. But if you're a traditional engineering practitioner, you're gonna get in that range. So don't expect too much. So this video, these are the tips and the stuff that I hope I knew when I was starting my career. I started in construction, but I really felt towards having a career in the power industry. So I really targeted that, and in God's will, I got my chance and just took a swing. And now I'm working in the power industry, and I'm sharing this experience with you.